every reason to hang you.
An underground prison that housed terror. 24 hours in the House of Detention.
Come on, man.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. This week we've brought you to the Clerkenwell House of Detention in London, where over 10,000 men, women and children were incarcerated each year. The feelings are so intense here that investigations have had to be halted. Camera crews have left before the filming is finished. We have no such options. We're locked in for 24 hours.
The Clerkenwell House of Detention was built underground at the beginning of the 17th century. Its purpose was a holding prison to house prisoners until they were moved to a more permanent place, like Newgate, where they would await execution. The prison was burnt down during the Gordon riots in 1780. It was then demolished and rebuilt in 1845 as a remand centre. Up to 10,000 prisoners a year were kept here. Amongst them, highwaymen, prostitutes and their children lived in the most appalling conditions, locked behind the walls in dark, damp cells. Dark shadows and screams have affected people in such a way that they have left the House of Detention in absolute terror.
What a place of terror and torment this is. It was the scene of many people being incarcerated in here for a long period of time until it eventually became a house of detention, a holding prison for prisoners to be either transported to Australia, to the Americas, or imprisoned in other prisons, or of course, executed.
Then it's no wonder that dark, ghostly figures have been seen wandering these labyrinth of tunnels. Children's cries have also been heard echoing through the dark corridors, and one phantom likes to lock in unsuspecting visitors by simply bolting the door.
There has been one strange thing in the building that I can't really explain, and that's in the long ventilation tunnel on the far side. Whenever I go home for the evening, I always keep the gate open, because it has previously been wedged closed and it is a pain. And whenever I return back to the building the following day, it's always closed.
This is the most haunted cell in the building. The ghost of an old woman has been seen in here, as if searching frantically for something. Also, the sounds of footsteps and the cries of a child have been heard.
Of course, this being a house of detention, there'd be an awful lot of women prostitutes that were brought off the streets and imprisoned here, awaiting trial. They would often be brought in with their children. And of course, there was a phenomenal amount of robbery, theft and pickpockets. And of course, there were many, many juvenile pickpockets in those days. They would have been brought in here. They would also have been sentenced and imprisoned, and in very special cases, of course, executed. We do actually have a report of a little boy of 9 actually being hanged in England.
They call this the washroom, and the ghost of an old lady has been seen standing in this corner just staring at visitors, and then she slowly vanishes. A child has been seen running through the wall as if someone's chasing her, but who?
There's this horrid man that's seen wandering about the tunnels of this place, referred to as cadaverous, evil-looking face. They believe he's one of the evil turnkeys that, of course, was in charge of these poor, unfortunate people here.
I don't like coming into the building on my own at all. I just feel uneasy in it. But then also I've seen on the internet that this window here is actually called the haunted window, and previously people have said that they've seen visions of faces within the window.
The House of Detention is a maze of tunnels that seems to go on forever. How would the most haunted crew cope tonight? Phil Wyman, our paranormal investigator, knew that after the baseline tests were completed, the main problems would be darkness and orientation.
So Phil, why do you think this horrible, cold, damp place is worthy of an investigation?
Well, there have been prisons on this site for over 300 years. They were damp, they were smelly, they were disgusting places to be in. Usually the prisoners were treated brutally. Maybe their fears and emotions of being in a place like this have actually imprinted themselves on the very fabric of the building itself, resulting in the reported occurrences. We've got things like the sound of a girl crying, unidentified footsteps, a woman that's been seen around the place. And weirder still is the fact that a gate keeps opening and closing, only for people to be unable to open it, even though there's no bolts on it.
So where do you think tonight would be the best place to investigate? Because it is such a massive place.
There are so many places, maybe towards the back of the prison, also the main entrance area of the prison. There's been reports of incidents happening there.
So are there any particular places that you're not looking forward to investigating tonight?
To be honest, I think this is one of the places that I'm not actually looking forward to doing, especially when the lights go out. It's very dark, it's dangerous, so we've got to be careful where we go.
Yeah, it also frightens me because I'm thinking I'm going to try and stay as close as I can to you, but I know that we're going to get separated.
Hopefully not.
One of the worst things is finding your way around the building. It's not an easy layout at all. There's a lot of walls, there's a lot of things to bump into, and it really does play havoc on your senses in the dark. Just, for example, when you touch walls, there's a really slimy feeling to the walls. So I don't know if you'll actually see anything, but it's certainly intimidating being within the building without any lights.
Outside it was getting dark, and inside certain members of our crew were already starting to experience strange noises.
I was shooting some GVs, some general things, just texture on walls, and I could hear the shuffling of somebody's feet. I just heard that kind of a noise, and it was coming from that corridor down there, or the next room. And I was standing there at the time, and I ran in here, and I was yelling down there saying, "Is anybody down there? Because I can hear you." And nobody was down there. And there is nobody down there, but I swear on my life I heard people's footsteps. I don't understand.
Did it speak you up?
Yeah, I'm scared. I genuinely am scared. That's why I know it was nobody. I know it was nobody down here. And also when we yell out to each other, people respond. You know, if I yell out to you, you're going to say, "Yes, don't worry, it's me."
You do look shaken, actually.
No, I am. I'm completely scared shitless. Sorry.
Derek Okora, our spiritualist medium, was aware he was going to be spending 24 hours in a location somewhere in London, but he had no idea exactly where. Unbeknownst to Derek, he was about to join us in a place where no other paranormal investigation had lasted for more than a few hours.
OK, Derek, to me, this is what could be quite a terrifying place this evening.
Yes.
There's a lot of history involved. What sort of things instantly, because this is the first part, are you actually picking up?
Well, I'm picking up so much residual energy, Evie. So much and layers of this. And, you know, the moment I walked through the doors, I was made aware of a very torturous, treacherous sort of man that was doing horrible things to people. Also, coming in on the energy, and I want to go back with this, it's like, when would that be, Sam? 1600 and something. To all these despicable things that were going on. I get this, also I get this woman screaming and shouting down here. It's like as if she's, you know, shouting out and screaming. And I feel that she must have been heard by physical people. Oh, I'm getting the impressions of this man again. He came earlier. Oh, he's about 5 foot, when he was in the physical body, about no taller than 5'4", very thin, gaunt, horrible, sort of personality, the smell, the stench that goes with him, his body odour, and what have you. And I feel he is an active spirit here. He is probably one of the few active spirits that comes. His name's Jack.
Jack.
Jack, okay. He was hung. He was hung. Jack Shepherd. Jack Shepherd. Okay. Yes. What about the little girl? The little girl runs from Jack Shepherd. There's a little girl that comes here. She's not grounded. This little light-haired girl. She's not grounded. She comes back in visitation because she was little child imprisoned here.
Oh, no.
She was imprisoned here.
Why? Do we know why?
Because her mother was. Her mother was. She stole her mother. Who? Give me it again. Her mother is Elizabeth, but people called her Bess. I'm also hearing here now, coming through on the residual energy coming from these walls, I can hear people all getting together and rushing in and huddling together, and they've got blankets all over them, and they're saying, please keep us safe, please God, and those wretched sounds that are coming, please, and they can hear the sounds outside, bang, bang, and the explosions, and this goes way forward. It's like as if this is like World War, is that? World War II, here. So I'm going back to this energy, and I'm coming forward to this energy, and it's whacking my mind, and people were saved by being here.
That's right, wasn't
In
it?
air raid.
Yeah, it was an air raid shelter, yeah, during the war. Yeah.
Okay, and oh wow, people were brought here and placed in these places for nothing, literally nothing, Yvette.
Well, why? Why were they brought here?
Because they were brought here for silly things, really. They were jailed for silly things. You had young ladies who were, if they were to be seen plying their trade out in the streets.
Prostitutes.
Yes, they were brought here.
Right.
And they suffered more than anyone else in this incarceration. And I'm also getting someone called Thomas as well. Thomas, and I feel that's Shepherd as well. I don't know if it's a father and son or brothers. They come in visitation. Can we move on? Because Sam said to me we must go further because there's things that have got to be talked about. Can we go further on?
Yeah.
Because yes, in here, Yvette.
Okay.
Phil. Right. Now, as we enter this area, there's a horrible, horrible stench, psychically and spiritually, here. There's far worse places, according to Sam, in this area, but here there is the evidence, spiritual and psychic evidence, of an old lady who treads through here. And this old lady, the reason why she runs round and what have you is because she was made to see a lot of the people who were incarcerated here in this like jailing system, because this basically is a jail. And she was made to see by this cretin of a man what he did in like his execution of hurting people, and also taking the lives of almost innocent people. And the wretchedness of this is bringing her back into this atmosphere time and time again. And she's through her anxieties and her frustrations, she's tried to show herself so many times to physical people when they've been down here. See if you can get the name of this lady. Alice Armitage. Alice Armitage. Alice Mary Armitage. Yes. When? She was born in 1602. Okay. We've got to go, Yvette. You see, a lot of noises, a lot of things are attributed to the old lady, even the little girl child. But there's a place where I need to go, where we have what we call, not the ultimate, but an evil essence of presence. And we've got to go there.
So would we see any dark shadows or come into contact with the dark entity that was supposed to roam the labyrinth of tunnels? The Clerkenwell House of Detention is a horrible place to spend any time in. The thought of spending 24 hours underground was making us a little apprehensive.
Okay, thank you. There is activity galore here. This place here is so active at times, it's like as if we get a group of them, the visiting spirits and this individual who's the negative one, they all collectively come into this atmosphere here. So there'd be, I suppose, I don't know, there would be activity, noises. I see people, I've just seen people being brought down to the floor. I saw limbs chopped and just left, you know, to just fall down and what have you. And all this is in the stench of this atmosphere. And,
Would that have happened in this room, or are you picking some of it up in here?
I feel collectively both sides here. Here and in here. It's when I first walked in here, I just wanted to retch. Because I'm picking up their thoughts as these despicable things were happening to them. These poor wretched souls, they were just like pieces of meat to this individual that did all these horrible things.
And this was purely done for his enjoyment, basically?
Yes, absolutely. He was a despicable, sordid, evil soul.
So was he working here as a jailer or something like that?
This person, you see, it's becoming clearer now. He was not a jailer. Mm-hmm. He was a man that was brought here as to be jailed and was like trusted after so many years.
I see.
And has become like a jailer, but was allowed to go around and do these horrible things.
Can you find out can you ask Sam what it was that he did before he was jailed?
This man had in his nature this sordid way, and it was, I feel, sexual, possibly with females and what have you. It could have been rape, something like this. It was, it was rape upon rape. It's despicable. It's absolutely despicable. He's the stench in this place. He is active. There's only one truly active spirit, and that's him. The others are in visitation. Mm-hmm. And you know, Yvette, as we go closer to where he's supposed to manifest, we should all smell this infestation that is left in this atmosphere.
Let's go. Shall we go and see if we can find it?
Yes, please. Okay.
God. Oh, God.
It's horrible. It's horrible. He's here, all right.
Oh, my God.
That son of a gun, he's here. Show yourself, you imps. Can you feel?
Oh, God, it's so much colder in here.
Oh, God. Okay.
Did you hear that? Did you feel that? Did you feel it? Jesus Christ, did you feel that?
Yes. Okay. Oh, he doesn't like it at all. He's not happy with us being here.
It's like it was underneath.
Okay.
It was like it was underneath the floor.
Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's right. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. My stomach. He's torn out in his bloody stomach. He caused so much problems when something happened here. And it's like, bang! And, you know, there's an Irish flavour, an Irish link coming in, two of them. And these two Irishmen, yeah, were housed here, and they knew what was going to happen. Bang! Bang! And a big explosion. Boom! It blew more than they thought it would. They blew it apart. And people, oh, the poor souls, they're all screaming at me. Screaming, why? And the fire everywhere. And there was smoke and people were choking. And it was horrible. It was horrible. Who is that? Who is that? Say it again. I can't hear you properly. You're the evil one, are you? Yeah. He's telling us to go. He's telling us to go.
No, we're not going.
No, we're not.
No.
No, we're not, are we?
No, we're not going.
No.
You'd be joking.
Yeah, he's telling us to go.
No.
Go because he's going to... go because he's going to hurt us.
No, he can't.
That's his word. He can't, Ivy. He
Yeah.
can't. Oh, you could hear the words.
What's he saying? It's all right, we can beep it out. What's he
What he's
saying?
going to do to you.
To me?
Yeah.
Go on, tell me. I'm not scared. Go on.
He's going to... I can't
Go
do
on,
it.
just say it. It's all right. Just say it. It's all right.
No, I can't do it.
You can. It's all right. Go on, just say it. Does it put me on my guard then?
Derek described to us exactly what this entity wanted to do to me and the rest of the female members of the crew. So graphic were his descriptions, we couldn't broadcast them.
I'm going to stop there.
I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
All right. What's the matter?
Derek was becoming increasingly upset and needed a break. But even when he had gone into a different part of the location, he couldn't escape the feelings and images that were placed in his mind.
It's not good here. This has proven to me now something I've never come across before in any investigation. And this person, his name's Michael. Michael. And he said very clearly to Sam, very clearly, 1867, he's been here ever since. And he is a killer. And he's killed. And he continues, even in his spirit body, still wants to kill. Please. He's also got a cohort. There's two of them now. Oh God, we've got problems here. There's the two of them. With the S. The S. The S sign.
That room is I don't know if it's S wing or S room, but it's got a very old S.
To keep all the ladies away from that area. Dare you filth. You're a filth. You're filth of the earth. You still stain and stink the earth with your evil thoughts, you horrible soul. What's that?
What's the matter?
Something there's a bang at the back.
Yeah, he's starting.
As soon as I'm at it, come on, you bastard. If we come in here and he's threatening us, I'm furious. I'm really furious.
His thoughts, messages are coming through very, very strongly. I don't know how to cope with this because I've not come across this before. And if I haven't come across it, please, love, don't, evoke. Michael! Are you? Where are you? I can hear your voice, you beggar. Where are you? He's in here. That's good.
Derek picked up on a name that does have connections with the prison, but out of respect for any surviving members of his family, we have covered his surname.
He's down here. He's taking me down here. Yes. I'm coming, Michael. that you cannot harm the women folk or any of us men. You have not got the capabilities, you dirtball. He's in here.
Where's he gone?
He's gone up here. They're just shouting, come you, come. Yeah, he's coming for a full circle. He's here. He's here. Yeah, there he is. There he is. There he is. He's holding his hands like this. You're Michael. Yes, you tell me about yourself. You cannot harm any of us on this. You filth. Did they hang you, did they? Is that what they did to you? They hung this one, this filth. They hung him. And they had every reason to hang you, you filth.
Just break away from it for a minute.
Okay.
Try and break away from it for a minute. Come away.
Raise his hand in. I can't just like do things.
I know you can't.
It just happens.
I
you
know, absolutely. Right.
He's the evil one. And he's the one that walks the animals here. He's the one that makes the noises. And the children and what have you. Even the little girl who runs away from that horror. Come kill her.
It was at this point in the investigation that we had to cut the sound. Derek had begun to describe some of the disgusting and barbaric acts that he thought Michael had carried out on his victims. So strong were these images in Derek's mind that we had to stop filming.
I've never come across this before, ever. I've just lost my soul with this here.
You've got Sam, he hasn't got Sam. You've got
No.
Sam.
No, I know, thank you, Carl, I know.
No, we're all here with you. I know we're not spiritually aware as you are, but we are all physically here. We can get through it together if you want to go back in. But if you don't want to go back in, then that's fair enough.
So would Derek be able to carry on with the investigation and blank out the disturbing images that were affecting him so much? And would the Most Haunted crew make it through the night? With some time away from the House of Detention, Derek felt he could carry on with the investigation. He had warned the girls that they must stay together, because according to Derek, a dark entity had a total dislike for women and was keeping an eye on them. So they stayed in one of the cells with Stuart, a locked-off camera and a walkie-talkie. The rest of the crew were also on guard and very wary, but at the same time we were all desperately hoping to see or feel something paranormal.
He's here.
That's all right.
He's here.
We're stronger, we
Who
are.
are you? Who are you? You let yourself be known. Who is he, Sam? Is he a cohort of that Michael? He is. He's coming in with him. Okay. Around the time, they were friends. They were friends, Evie, in the physical life.
Yeah.
Who is he, Sam? He's equally as devious, Sam said. But he's not. He didn't do all the despicable things like the Michael. But he's come into the atmosphere and he walks these corridors and he causes a lot of disharmony. And the two of them, who? Joseph. 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 Oh God, he's now blanking my mind, this thing. The Joseph is blanking my mind. He's taking it all in my thoughts.
What do you mean he's taking all of your thoughts?
He's blanked in my concentration. And he's stopping my communication with Sam. Oh my
How can
God.
you do that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've not come across this before. I've got to go out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for stopping this
Yeah.
here, and we'll come back.
Yeah.
I just need to go out of it.
Okay.
And then we'll come and meet you. Whoa. Did he hit you?
Christ.
Did it come across your head? It's... Yeah.
What is it?
What did he do? What did he do, Carl?
Right.
I mean, we're going to get this now. We're going to get this now.
What did he do, sweetheart?
It's like a razor cut across my...
You joking?
You see, the things... You put this into what he's done,
There's bumps there.
and you'll feel it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Oh shit.
He's got you across there, yeah.
No, it's
No.
not bleeding. Just get your head still.
Look, there they are. Look. See, Divvy?
Yeah.
Sorry, is there anyone behind you there, Carl? Because I've just heard a shuffling of feet.
Yeah, I heard something earlier.
He's there. He's down there.
Who's this, Joseph?
This Joseph, yeah. He's a cohort of Michael. And he was friends.
Take a step back.
I've got to go.
Take Derek out.
Derek, come on, I'll
Sorry,
you
well, and don't, please,
Shall we
if
keep
you
it
go
rolling,
there, go with
yeah?
your numbers.
Yeah,
go with
I've
your
got it.
numbers because...
Some bitch wants to fight me, I'll
I've got to tell
fight.
you, I felt like being choked a minute ago.
It's freezing cold down there, but this is the exit door, so it's, I'd imagine it's, yeah.
Well, just while we were standing there doing that interview, I didn't say anything because Derek was in full swing, but I could have sworn somebody was choking me. I just felt this right in there. As I've had like this right up around my chin to stop it from touching me. All my buttons have come undone. It's horrible. Seriously thought somebody was choking me. I was getting all like lightheaded.
We've got two people here, two spirits separate to Michael. We've got a Joseph and we've got a Richard. They both left the earth plane, the physical life, in the same time. And they were known to each other.
But they both knew Michael.
Yes.
Did they help him?
Are they going to... Yeah, they're helping him.
They're helping him now, or they helped him when he was in the physical?
They're helping him now. They're coming to a threesome. I knew it. I just knew it. We've got trouble here, Ivy. These two are coming back to help him. He's grounded, but they come back because of their kinship. They help him relive things and what have you. Sounds are evident. Objects flying here, there and everywhere, and screeching and shouting and what have you. So if a person's there physically, will just run out. These three are responsible for this.
This was certainly a place where we could lose our heads. We had to get things in perspective and try to be rational.
It's just mind-blowing. The place is a very, very frightening place to be in. But the fact that Carl has got a little scratch on his head, I've never seen Derek this upset. The funny thing is that because I know you're all with me, I'm not scared. I'm more determined. It's almost like, well, come on then, you know, he can't harm us type of thing, but he can because it's hurt Carl's head.
I actually feel fine. I've just literally spent the last 5 minutes or so back in that alleyway, the corridor piece. It's very unwelcoming in there at the moment.
I mean, we were scared and we were walking around and it was daylight outside. Now it's pitch black. Derek has told us that, you know, there are 3 spirits in here who are basically evil. They are nasty, nasty spirits. Of course everybody's going to be like, you know, terrified. Of course you're going to see things. Of course you're going to feel things, you know?
There's definitely something in there. You can hear it. I mean, it's making sounds. It's making... Yes, there's noises. There's noises happening in there.
What we've got to be careful of, though, this place is so cavernous. Sounds do travel from one end to the other. But I know at the time when whatever the noise was you heard in the tunnel after you got hit on the head, that nobody was walking around because we'd left them sat down in the other room, and we were still.
After a short break, Derek was ready to restart his investigation. Hopefully, he would be able to receive more information from his spirit guide, Sam.
Oh, this is it. This is it. This is why they're here. Okay, all right. Going back in time here, in this area, going down underneath here. If that was to be dug out, this is where people who were not even tried, who were cut to ribbons by this evil thing, were centred and thrown down, because that goes around and through the area that's been blocked off.
Right.
A lot of the bodies, the physical remains, are under, down. A lot of them. I mean, there was thousands of souls in here at times. Thousands. But if this was to be exposed and dug out and what have you, they'd find the passageway that goes behind the walls and what have you, with, and I mean literally hundreds and hundreds
Of bodies.
of bodies. The evil in the residual energy here is still as strong as going back when all these poor souls lost their lives the way they lost them. Joseph, Richard, these two are caught in the web of the power of this person's mind, so to speak, mind. And they want, it seems, thank you, Sam, it seems as if they want to free themselves. They don't want to be being called back here, being called back here, being called back here, because they didn't do the things like him in the physical life. Those two are really now giving it great thought about not coming back here. They've got a good, do you understand? And he said, Michael, he's not going to let you out of here peacefully. That is a threat. What can he do? Tell me. Round the girls. Right now, the temperature has gone absolutely flat and cold around the girls. Can we go there, back there?
Hang on. Let's walk a talk.
Yeah, please. Ask them the temperature. They're freezing. Oh, they're freezing. It's like being in a
Has the temperature dropped in there just lately?
And I'm freezing.
I've just gone all cold.
Absolutely freezing.
Hello, Suzanne.
Jesus Christ, I've got ice cold.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
Absolutely dropped inside.
Is that noise again?
What the?
What the fuck is that?
What caused that?
How did that happen?
That was the light.
I don't know, but they're not answering either for a minute. Get back there. Let's go back.
Suzanne, anybody there?
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Right, Timmy. Yeah. What's that?
Are you all right in here?
It was very cold. Well, I said to Stewie, it's like gone really cold. He went, oh, it's a draft. Draft from where?
Various times, up and down.
We don't know whether it's drafts or not.
Why didn't you answer your walkie-talkie?
No voices coming through at all.
Oh my God!
No, it didn't work. Nothing at all.
Nothing happened.
Did any of you, at that split second, I saw 2, if not 3 of you, doing this to the air.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Did you do that?
We did that, yeah. And what I find peculiar is if you've been calling us, all we've been hearing is...
Oh my God.
Nothing.
You
Do these
say something again on your walkie
Do these work all the way around this building?
Yes.
Today we can really...
Oh my God,
Should we go
no
and
way.
test it?
Nothing.
No, we
nothing.
never got.
Me and Suzanne have been testing and walking around with them all, most of the day.
Yeah,
Well,
we do that throughout the day. We make
Yeah.
sure they're working, and they were working before we left because we tested every single one because we were worried, weren't we?
Yes.
None of your voices came through at all.
He's in the atmosphere and he's listening and he's thriving off your, all our, not anxiousnesses, but he's just absolutely thrilled in this perverse way that he's been talked about. It's really, really, you know, feathering his ego, so to speak, because that's how a filth ball that he is.
So, somebody walked down the corridor and we don't know whether it was...
But it was
you
above us,
guys.
wasn't it?
No torch, it was just one footstep.
There was one. There was
It
one.
was like
there.
someone had...
Hurried as though they were
No, I
on a
don't
mission.
Who's walking around on their own after Derek specifically saying don't?
Yeah.
You'll actually pick the sound up on that
You
camera.
probably will.
The House of Detention is not a place for the faint-hearted. It has to be one of the scariest places we have ever encountered. It is a place where strange noises are heard regularly, and we always felt we were being watched. It will be interesting to see in the future if and when the ground beneath the jail is ever cleared, will human remains be found of the poor victims who were supposed to have been thrown down the pit all those years ago. A cold, dark place with a depressing atmosphere certainly had its effect on us all, with Carl's scratch, ghostly footsteps, the girls freezing and the lights blowing. These were just a few of the strange things that had occurred during our 24-hour stay.
I must admit that I did feel that the possibility of paranormal activity actually occurring in this place was quite high. It's just got one of those eerie feelings about the place. When as soon as you walk in, you expect to see something happening.
I walked through the doors and the atmosphere sort of tends to take you over. Quite an oppressive atmosphere, and it's probably not that far removed from when it was, or what it was at the time it was actually active as a place of incarceration.
Derek's walkabout now, to be honest with you, that scared me quite a bit, and it didn't do an awful lot for Derek either. Although, having said that, the information he did come out with was very accurate concerning the bomb and the people connected with this place who were here at some point or other.
I'd done considerable amount of research, but some of the stuff that Derek came up with, I actually didn't know anything about until I visited the local studies library, and he surprised me, certainly coming up with Jack Shepherd, who was a notorious highwayman that was imprisoned here and did escape from here. He didn't die here, but he was hanged, and there's absolutely no way I believe that Derek would have known that.
One of the strangest things that happened during the night was Carl, who we were just doing the walk around with Derek, and all of a sudden he reacted like he'd been hit on the head. And indeed he had a mark just above his eye, which looked like something actually hit him on the head. Nothing had fallen off the roof, for instance, or anything like that. There was no pipes around for him to hit his head on. So that I can't explain what happened there.
Well, what a good night. I'm quite excited by what's happened. It's been a good one.
A good night for some, and for others, a night never to be forgotten. Derek had suffered emotionally during the night and had preferred not to make any comment on the House of Detention.
Derek's behaviour here is what we would call clairsentient. Here he's very, very much getting into the emotions and the fear and anger and all these different very, very high emotions. And he's maybe got an ability that's a clairsentient ability, where he's getting the information about the past, about the spirits, but he's actually feeling it.
And then we'll come and meet you.
The moment where we saw Carl get a scratch above his eye, I found that very interesting, but my immediate reaction was to first jump for a natural explanation, which could be insects down there in the House of Detention. I know that there probably are some insects. Some of the crew reported that there are a few insects around. So it could easily be an insect flying by at high speed that may have caused that particular scratch. And before you jump to any sort of paranormal explanation, you need to be sure that it didn't happen because of that.
From the girls. What? Right now, the temperature has gone absolutely flat and cold around the girls.
We see footage that Derek immediately refers to the group of girls in the other room and how cold they must be feeling at that instant. It makes for very, very compelling viewing, but down in the House of Detention, it is very cold, and there certainly are cold spots. I'm well aware from people who have been down in the House of Detention before that there are certain rooms that are a lot colder than others, and periodically can get colder at certain times during the day. So I don't find it surprising that Derek says, oh, they're feeling cold, and then we find out within a few minutes or so that they are feeling cold.
A labyrinth of dark tunnels where terror still reigns. Our stay will never be forgotten.
Until the next time, sleep tight.
I've not come across anything like it before.
You're all together, Stuart's with you, and nothing can harm you.
Let's go back in there, let's kick him in the arse.